Now you can say it.
Hello, everybody. It's the Bickering Gamers here. Mid-military men reporting in.
See, now we actually started, Greg. Now you can say that.
LOL.
We got. I thought we were making a joke when we said Jimmy's wrestling an alligator.
Yeah, I thought we were.
Why don't
Shadow Drake, are you alright?
Yes, I'm okay.
He's just wrestling an alligator.
You gotta call the exterminator, dude.
Or just call me, I'll eat him.
Yeah, today,
And we have a guest here.
I was gonna say that.
Yes, this is TCOA, the Channel of Awesomeness, reporting in.
Yes, very good.
Yes.
So
Feel free
today
to check
we're
out my
talking.
channel.
So today we're talking about marketing and gaming.
Yes,
right?
because games still need to sell.
Now, I actually believe that the best part of making the perfect game is its marketing. You gotta get your word out there. Like, for instance, Billy, what game is this?
Well, this is Tempest, classic arcade game. But you know, honestly, a couple of these videos I had to get the last minute because I had some recording problems. But you know, Atari games. I think this is Atari. Tempest.
Sure looks like
older games didn't really have much to them. Their marketing. In fact, marketing was actually very poor in the early days of gaming, and that's what really caused. And with no internet, you pretty much got screwed a lot of the time. But this is one of the Tempest was one of the good examples. Used vector graphics, which was very advanced for the time.
Oh god, yes, you can say that.
That actually would probably be most likely one of their marketing their marketing platforms. The fact that they use vector graphics, and there's always a marketing point. Usually it has to do with the gameplay mechanics. Okami when it came out, put a big deal about the celestial brush, and when Mega Man came out too, they made a big deal about the level selection. Damn it, Tyler!
Nice.
Either way, but I will say this game, I mean, I only heard of this game like until today, yeah, but I will say this game, and I'm just old-fashioned like that, but I think this game is probably interesting. It looks interesting.
It's fun.
And the thing is, it's all about marketing, especially in times like this. Look at this. I mean, I'm sure the marketing for this game was probably horrible, right?
It wasn't high.
No, it was. You know, no one probably even gave a crap about this game.
Well, really.
Oh my gosh, vector graphics.
Well, back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, you can get away with that because, like, who the hell advertised anything really?
Oh my god, those graphics are so amazing!
Thank you, Tyler.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's another thing. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Another thing that makes a game
Like
perfect are probably its
I got it on
graphics.
eBay.
And you know what? When they market this game, when they market this game, they also try to appeal to the people with the graphics mode in mind. You know?
Not back then.
Yeah.
No,
shows you
because
how much has changed.
no, well,
since
obviously,
then.
but I know, but like back then, they were the minority, as we say. You know, like the people who cared about graphics back then were the minority.
Well, it's like we said last week. Graphics were different then. Like these graphics on the video.
Back then were the shiznay.
No, it changed the game. It made a whole new game out of it. That was the difference. It's but
Yeah.
that's a different subject. So when
I mean, like, looking at this
My
game,
infected toe.
this thing
Thanks for
actually
stepping on it,
utilized a perspective point. There's one point where all lines
there's
converge.
something you can market, and popular games. In fact, any gaming thing like
I'm not worthy of being introduced.
No,
just got in.
Rosemary, you're not. You just came here.
when games when game developers have certain traditions and whatnot, it comes from games that have great marketing. And the best kind of game marketing are usually launch titles like Super Mario Brothers for the NES or such. And
The original Crash Bandicoot, it's
Yeah.
an example.
Yeah.
and
Or Crash Bandicoot Warts.
right.
Or Crash Bandicoot 2.
Enough with the Crash Bandicoots.
Yo,
Crash Bandicoot was a shiznay back
Yo,
when I was
it's
young.
still gangsta.
In Ocarina of
Oh,
Time.
what the hell are you talking about?
All right, thank
I'm
you.
talking about
If
Crash.
you two,
If
I-
we two, yes.
if you guys scuff my boots any further, you're gonna feel the wrath of Triple M.
Anyway,
Oh, the Wrath of
Don't you
Triple
mean
M.
Cortex's rap?
The Wrath of Cortex.
Either way, now
anyway,
we digress.
as I
Twin Sanity.
As I was saying, Ocarina of Time had an I actually just heard I actually just saw their commercial on YouTube recently, back in 96 or no 98, when there's there's actually they're actually pretty threatening. They said if you don't buy this game, they said if you don't buy this game, you're stupid. And you know what? At the
wow, that was back in a time when you could say that on TV. Remember? Jesus.
Yeah.
And what happened was
The good old days.
and what happened was
Yes.
it marketed on the fact that this is a 3D adventure game for The Legend of Zelda. And Zelda, the original Zelda game was very marketed the adventure idea too. And if it wasn't for that kind of marketing, these games wouldn't have been heard of. You always hear of a launch title because you have to market your hardware, and then the launch title will come with it.
Yeah.
But with a game like Legend of Zelda, it came 2 years later after the NES and the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo 64 and such. You have to advertise the game. And when Ocarina of Time came out, as we discussed also in a previous video, that game modernized a lot of gaming, and a lot of developers took a lot of traditions from that game.
Question. Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
We're talking about essentially marketing and the whole nature of marketing, and in some cases the nature of capitalism on how to get your marketing out. Now, what does that have to do with whoever's playing this game right now?
Because of the marketing, that's why they're playing it.
Yeah.
They thought it was appealing.
You have to.
Now, yeah, of course, you have like some schlub who says, "Hey, this game looks good. Never even heard it. I'll try it." That's still. But here's the thing: they can do that. But once they play it and they like it, guess what happens? They can spread the word that says, "Hey, this game is good."
But that's basically what YouTube is now.
You know what? I'll say this: like the hullabaloo with Ocarina of Time. I'm not gonna listen. I'm not saying it's a bad game. Not at all. I mean, I didn't really see what the big deal was. But, I mean, you guys say it's a great game. I thought it was a great game, too. That's a perfect example.
That's unofficial.
I didn't.
We're talking about companies marketing.
Well,
their products
yeah, but and if they do it
directly to us.
successfully,
Well, Nikolai, what you're
if
not
they-
getting is this is
if
totally relevant to the subject because
if they do it successfully,
into it.
if they do that successfully, guess what? You get the perfect game. If you do it successfully, basically the whole thing is you gotta basically reach the public and say my product is the best.
And you know what? Nintendo and Sony are both excellent marketers.
Without a doubt.
Throughout to this day, they make a lot of new gamers, especially the Wii. Definitely revolutionized the casual gaming market.
Correct. Yes.
Very good.
While the PlayStation 1 originally brought 3D graphics. So,
The Super Nintendo did 3D graphics. It just wasn't as
it wasn't as three-dimensional. I don't know how to.
The Super Nintendo could do it. It's just there's a lot of limitations. In fact, Super Mario 64 was supposed to be on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
in early development.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you know what? We can do a good segue with that. What happened was they wanted to use the N64's power, which is common in the end of console life cycles. So they moved the game over to the next console, and that made one of the best ever marketing points in gaming history. A 3D, fully environmental game with models.
That's right.
It's unheard of.
That's right. I'm actually surprised
Back in the day it was.
I'm actually surprised that, I mean, especially for Mario 64. I mean, Mario is a game that actually needs no more. Like, if you know the first Mario game, marketing is pretty much like, you don't really.
Well, that's really because it was a launch title. There's actually a. What was that, James? You're going in and out. I think we have a bad connection on Skype.
Repeat that, James.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I'm saying they put a Mario game like every year. They try to make it as better, but every Mario game they came out with always seemed flawed in some possible way.
Every game's flawed.
Yeah, but every game is flawed. Are you going to be a schlub about it and say, "Oh my God, you can't do that"? Are you going to be the schlub that says, "Oh my God, you can't climb up walls in real life"? It's a thing.
Of course, everyone knows that.
Of course, everyone knows that. But
That's why
I'm gonna quote Ed Boon right now, the creator of one of the co-creators of Mortal Kombat. Reality is boring. Nobody wants to pay for reality. Especially when they're playing video games. That's a quote from him.
Well, let me challenge you then with this quote. If nobody wants to pay for reality, then why are games being made to the point that they're simulating reality?
There's no reality.
There's no such thing. What are you going to
simulating the graphics of?
Let me ask you something, Mr. Awesomeness. Do you really think that Call of Duty? Do you really think that Call of Duty is realistic?
Absolutely not.
There you go.
And
they try and simulate reality.
You know what I find?
Here's the best part about that.
Borderlands.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. they try and simulate reality, but you know what? As far as I'm concerned, especially in Call of Duty, as far as I'm concerned, you don't respawn in real life when you're in a war zone. Trust me, I know.
I know that.
So
they can only contest that.
They can only simulate reality up to a certain point.
Well, let's get back to Mario, because the thing about Mario and many games like him, like Sonic the Hedgehog and Crash Bandicoot, was these were what you called gaming mascots. They were one of the best points of marketing for consoles. Especially Nintendo had Mario, Sega had Sonic, Sony had Crash. They're using Microsoft has Master Chief. And the idea is these people, and the idea is what's great is these people, these characters have what people love the realism to them because they're believable characters.
Yeah.
And their games, which were most likely launch titles or exclusives, made a lot of money. And because that's what people are most accustomed to. The first Super Mario Brothers on the NES revolutionized the idea of side-scrolling, and that became the #1 genre for developers to develop on up until Ocarina of Time. Then adventure games got in, and now we're in the first-person shooter state, first-person shooter era.
We're starting on the survival stage.
Yeah, we're starting to go into survival games. Survival games are becoming the new FPS games of the day. Soon we're going to get sick of those, and then a first-person shooter game will be a dream come true.
Maybe some survival games just to...
Minecraft, Zombie U.
Wait.
Zombie U is the most
Minecraft
is
considered a survival game?
It's a survival game.
Stuff, I guess.
It is a survival game because you have to survive and thrive in the world.
Yeah, I guess.
Don't starve.
Yeah, it's a good question, actually.
And
A lot of them now.
so the idea of a
For anyone
I remember whenever you do it, if you ever did any if anyone ever wants to do any history lessons or research on Sonic the Hedgehog, the whole premise of him was Sega wanted a Mario because that's the best kind of marketing you can do. In fact, in Sega of America, the president of Sega of America said, instead of using Altered Beast as our pack and title, we should make Sonic the Hedgehog our pack and title. The Sega of Japan, which was the national headquarters, the worldwide headquarters for Sega, was very iffy on that because Sonic the Hedgehog was their best-selling game, which had really weird commercials, by the way.
I couldn't follow them. I could never follow them.
And the idea was you had the idea was they did it. They worked on many things. They were going to make him a black armadillo, which ended up being Mighty the armadillo in the Teen Chaotix. They were going to make a caricature egg Theodore Roosevelt, which ended up being Dr. Robotnik.
Yep.
And then they settled for a blue hedgehog named Sonic. And
Gotta go fast.
yeah, and
Gotta go fast.
and Sega Genesis sold millions of copies. In fact, no one heard of the Master System, the console before it, because it wasn't very well advertised. Marketing makes a difference in gaming, and not many people like to realize that. In fact, a lot of gamers today seem to feel like gaming companies are magic genies you get from a lamp and they give you what you want. It's not true. They have to market and. When you know what's there? When we talk about hidden gems, the reason why hidden gems exist is because those were great, amazing games that weren't marketed enough. They might have done something new, they might not have. Like what's the game? Vex. There was a game called Vex on the GameCube. I think it was a third-party title for all the platforms, but
it was a third-party.
Yeah, that game had a lot of cool concepts I never seen before, and no one ever heard of the game.
Yeah, no one ever heard of Chuck Rock either. That was a friggin' awesome game.
Yeah. There was a lot of great games on the TurboGrafx 16 that never seen the light of day anymore. The Bonk series on the TurboGrafx 16 just now started getting some recognition because it got on the WiiWare, and you can order it. TurboGrafx 16 was actually, it was a shame it wasn't very well advertised because it was an awesome console. It was an 8-bit console that if you look at the games you'll say that's 16-bit, but it's not. Because they had an advanced form of color chip, and it was something that had to do with the hardware. It was an 8-bit processor, but they did something that enhances color, movement, and frames per second. And it looked
beefed up the graphics.
I don't like saying FPS because people get confused with first-person shooter.
First-person shooter, frames per second.
Yeah,
Minecraft people will go for frames per second, but gamers will go for it.
Yeah, I just say it to not get confused. Yeah, you know, what made first-person shooter games so popular was I have gun, boom, boom, smack, smack. A lot of times,
That's true.
Yeah, because a lot of times marketing is more of a psychological, taking advantage of a person's psychological
Basically, the
psychology.
guys that wanted to join the army or something but couldn't. So instead, they put you in a simulator and go.
That was a big thing with that was a big thing with Call of Duty's advertisement points.
Yep. And then of course I get approached by people because when I used to be a recruiter, I get approached by people. So do you do like shit like Call of Duty and stuff? And I go no. I go no. That's not real.
You don't respawn back in wherever you spawned in.
What do you think, Jimmy? James, I haven't heard from you guys a lot today.
Yeah, obviously you wouldn't shut up.
Go ahead, James.
Yeah, like what do you think like makes a perfect marketing tactic for games? Let's ask your opinion on
Pokemon.
Well,
that's my answer.
Pokemon was the best. I'm sorry, nothing can be.
I'm gonna use a perfect example. Like someone said over there, Pokemon. That's actually a really good marketing example.
Yep.
Because over the years, Pokemon has gotten more and more original with each generation, but sometimes they will go back and remake that generation. For example, like how they did Gold and Silver, and now later on they did Heart Gold and Soul Silver. They try to advance it a
That's
bit
my
more.
favorite one.
You're right. Yes.
That's my favorite. Until X and Y comes out, that's my favorite Pokemon game.
What about
Heart Gold and Soul Silver?
What about you, Jimmy?
I'd have to say
Shadow Draco?
No, that's a tough question because
It is.
with marketing, they gotta advertise the game as it is and make sure that they attract a good audience. Like you said with the Call of Duty series, they attracted like a bunch of people to that game just because it puts you in the role of a soldier. But as Greg said, it's not real.
Well, that's not necessarily true.
Well,
it's not necessarily true to say that marketing doesn't it's just showing off a game and blending and hoping it for the best. Because the reason why the reason why I said Pokemon, and I actually put it's a reason I put Pokemon footage up in this video later on, is because Pokemon, and I'm not saying this is an opinion, this is pure fact. Pokemon is the perfect marketed game. It was marketed perfectly, so much that there's actually a country somewhere in I think Middle Asia, I don't know which one, but I wish I gotta look it up someday because I keep forgetting.
Hong Kong?
They have legal currency. These are coins, legal tender with Pokemon on them because they noticed how popular the games were.
Wait, what?
Yeah, well,
look it up. There is coins with a Pikachu, Meowth, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, and it's legal tender. That's how good the marketing was.
Interesting.
That's because they're the all-star Pokemon of
It's more
beginning shows.
Yeah, and besides, it's more than the games. It was the 80s. Well, it was the 90s, but it still had the 80s vibe. What they would do is they do what every 80s thing does: sell toys, start cartoons, comic books, and it worked. You know, because it gets people's attention. They go, "What's the big man? This must be the commercials used to be." In fact, that was, Drake Bell's first ever performance was in a Pokemon commercial. And what they did was
Drake,
Drake Bell.
from Drake and Josh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's cool because
in
in his commercial they showed him in a room with a Game Boy Color, and there was another kid on the other side in another house with another Game Boy Color, and what they did was they had the link cable connected to both of them. And they had Pokemon going crossing like a tightrope. It was funny, but they made the point. But the marketing. But when you analyze the marketing, they're making the point that you can be connected with other people. They're marketing not only Pokemon but the link cable, and it shows, hey, you can battle each other. You can collect these guys.
Yeah.
Gotta catch them all.
Oh my God, that was Drake Bell.
That was Drake Bell. It's brilliant.
Now, why does this sound familiar? Oh, yeah, it was the first form of social networking.
Yep.
Literally, two machines hooked up to each other via some link, be it wired or wireless, and you have two users that do stuff.
You mean Zelda?
That's the internet in the nutshell.
Well, you know what's even cooler? In Japan, by 3rd gen, where the battle tower is. You know why the battle tower exists in North America? Because in the Japanese version, when you go to a Pokemon Center, this is very ahead of its time. In Japan, if you had the game and you had this certain type brand of cell phone, you were able to connect a link cable into the cell phone and play. It's not online, but you can play with other people through a cell phone signal. It was an amazing. It's a shame not many people are aware of that because it was the beginning. It was one of the beginnings of online gaming.
Now, this is one thing the iPhone generation will definitely not
understand. Yeah,
understand.
and the idea is, what makes it so much more brilliant is Pokemon. They used its marketing power to get this going. Those cell phones probably were sold by the ton.
Yep.
But hey, Billy, there's another thing that's good at marketing as well.
What's that?
The Gundam series.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Because they actually have a giant actual sketch of a giant actual model of the Gundam there, Tokyo somewhere.
Oh, that's cool.
It's actually a live scale Gundam just sitting there. It's
Wow, you know what they take that stuff very seriously. It's you know, I mean, you know, when I was overseas, when I was overseas in Asia, I was expected to see like a statue of Godzilla on Tokyo Tower. You know,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, you know, but actually, it's funny because when I was in Tokyo Tower, I saw like this really, really tall Japanese person, and my friend, he actually like made fun of him, calling him Godzilla. It was like really weird. But it's like, you know, like, do you see what I'm getting at, though? It's because, like, they take it so seriously, like, they make their their marketing is so...
Well, you gotta remember, it's part of their culture.
Where do you think we get entertainment from, mostly?
Yeah,
the good kind of entertainment.
It's different in Japan because that's their culture. Gaming is a big part of their culture. And in America, it's kind of the same, but really, we treat it as gamers, we treat it like Japan. It's just, America is not fully about video games. I mean, we're more about movies and stuff.
Yeah. That music.
In Japan, there are more advanced
in fact,
than what
I mean, I remind you that they're in some, I forgot which state, but there is a Marilyn Monroe statue in America. There's a statue of Marilyn Monroe.
It's somewhere in like the
same
middle.
idea.
Yeah.
Marketing.
Well, you want to use
marketing.
You want to use Marilyn Monroe as an example of marketing. Well, yeah.
Why? What would make you watch a movie?
Sexy girl.
Yeah, that there's a good actor in it, and she's psychomycology. They want to get in your head and go, I want to see that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to. Yeah.
You want to see someone like.
That's why a lot of games today are very adult and sexualized because they want those people.
Well,
to play
yeah,
their
like
games.
when I see a movie, I want to see someone.
And that's why I also believe that's lazy when gamers do that without it being justified.
Well, yeah. Listen. When I see a movie, I want the leading actress to be like Samus without her suit on. You know, that's what I like. You know?
Yeah. But that's
just to use a little gamer innuendo here. People who don't know what Metroid is or know who Samus is won't get it. You know.
Yeah.
A lot of people did not know Samus was a girl. That was like the most shocking to me.
That's another marketing thing. Did you know that a lot of like even like girls who call themselves tomboys like a lot of tough acting children bought Metroid because they didn't know Samus was a woman. And then when they found out, it was like,
whoa!
You know, it was like their jaws dropped.
Well, what happened was that was an afterthought.
Yeah.
And in the last section of the game, they said, "Hey, what if we make Samus a woman?"
Yep.
And they went with it. And depending on how fast, I'm surprised they never got busted for this. Depending on how fast you beat the game, Samus has less clothes on when she takes her suit off. If you beat the game fast enough, she can be in a bikini. Yeah, but it's only 8-bit. It's not really a big deal. But the thing with Samus, well, people actually bought Samus a couple years after the game. It was a fantastic game, and it still is a fantastic series, except for Other M. But the idea is, Samus being a woman. That ending was fucking mind blowing. This isn't the internet. You couldn't look that up.
Yeah.
If someone said, "I know what happens at the end of Metroid," you would be bowed down. They would pull your pants down, and they'd take their hands, and they would shake their hands and pull their pants back up.
Yeah. It's like a spoiler alert, you know?
Yeah.
But I'll tell it's like
anyone who says they know what Ganon looks like in The Legend of Zelda 1 was the big top shit, the man with the biggest swinging dick in the nation walking around.
I know. Well, you know, it's like, I remember the first time, it's really weird. I said this on my first time when I was on Bickering Gamers. I said, when I first saw Samus, I knew it was a woman.
That robot has tits.
I said, because I saw Samus and I said, that robot has tits. That's what I said. That's what I said. That's what I said. I said, that robot has tits.
Okay, yeah, here's an even better one. Who here knows what the Midnight Club series is?
I've heard of it.
Yes!
I never personally played it. But...
Well, Midnight Club. Well, Don't. Well, forget.
That's
Midnight
another
Club.
hidden gem.
Well, yeah, that I personally
A
like.
lot of people know.
My favorite card, the Jet card.
Yeah.
Now, here's the very interesting thing. I mean, Midnight Club 3 Double Edition Remix are like good enough.
Well, you know what works?
Go back to the original Midnight Club, the first Midnight Club.
Yep.
Beat that all the way to the end because there's this legendary racer. I don't want to spoil the end, but let's just say it has something to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Trust me, your mind will be blown. This game is like maybe 13 years old. It's still good.
Well, you know what what makes people buy the dub games a lot of time, because they only make one every 2 years, and that makes it desirable. Remember psychomycology.
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 That makes people.
I'm taking cognitive psychomycology now.
Yeah, the fact that it comes out so rarely, these games, makes people want to buy it because they think it's rare and special, and it is. It's a great series. Very cool.
Just like
man.
Crash.
Yes.
I mean,
Nothing's better than a well-marketed game was excellent.
Yep. But a well-marketed game is Pokemon. I'm just gonna put that right out there.
It's the greatest. I am saying it's pure fact. You can call it an opinion all you want, but with Pokemon, there's no video game in history that did better marketing than Pokemon.
Yep. Especially like
First game I found out about
you know what? Pokemon is what I like to call the media juggernaut. Pokemon was a media juggernaut.
Man.
It not only had games, but it plunged the media with TV shows. It plunged the big screen with movies. Listen, do you guys remember? Do you remember the hullabaloo that happened when they sold Pokemon toys at the Burger King? I remember. I was in school.
Yeah.
I was in school, and there was a Burger King right down the block from my school. The police showed up because there were riots. Riots, mind you. The police showed up because there were riots to get the Pokemon.
At a Burger King.
At a Burger King.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta think about it. Back then, even now, Pokemon was a thing. Like, even during school, when you get into a fight with someone, you know how, when I used to get into a fight with people that I know play Pokemon, we didn't settle by fist fight.
It was like it was like the duels of the Midwest. Remember, it's like I challenge you to a Pokemon match.
Well, the idea is if you're in an arcade, you play Mortal Kombat, but when you're in the schoolyard, you get your link cable and you play some Pokemon.
Yeah.
Who has the better party? Who's gonna win?
Like you have this,
the teacher didn't
it's like you have this big ass, a big ass bully, you know, like he's big and he's a bully, and then you have like this little midget nerd kid, right? And then they're duking it out with their freaking Game Boy Colors, and it's like that's what I'm telling you, Pokemon was a media juggernaut.
Yeah.
It caused the most unbelievable movement in people's desire for gaming. And
history of gaming.
Well, you want to know something that would be great about marketing before Pokemon was known of? Game Freak, when developing this game, had a lot of trouble with money. There's the game Yoshi for the NES. If it wasn't for Yoshi, Pokemon would never exist, because that game gave them the funding to make the game. You see, it's just more and more marketing being built up even before the games come out.
True.
Because they needed money. You know, that's what it's all about. You need money to fund your games. That's why.
You need money to.
That's why indie games are indie games. Indie games don't get marketed very well, and they're made by people in a basement. You know, that's why when people do
websites like Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, when you make a good indie game, it's a hit. But it's like that. You know what? It shows how good developers can be. In fact, if I were working for a game company and I see that an indie game got incredibly popular, like Limbo did, or Braid, or Little Inferno, I would hire them. In fact, Nintendo is doing that, and in fact, all people are doing that now. And PSN, Xbox Live, and the eShop, they are putting indie games up because that's just how they roll. Sega made a great indie game, The Cave. I'm heavily enjoying on the Wii U recently.
I remember one really awesome game. It was made by 3DO. Army Men.
Oh yeah, that was popular.
This is like, I mean, I know, okay, man, military man, or so I'm supposed to call you. I mean, it's just, I mean, I understand you have beef with like Call of Duty and all those like first-person shooters.
I'm not saying I have,
but this is Army Men. So what's your take on that?
Listen, I have a lot of.
Well, make it quick. We only got 2 minutes.
Well, it's all right. Listen, I can just sum it up. Listen, the problem. I don't really have a problem with the games themselves. It's just that when they try and make it out to be something it's not. You know, another thing, I'll say this. I hate Call of Duty, but Call of Duty had good marketing and they reached a demographic. That's why it became so popular.
Kids.
Yeah.
That's why it became so popular. You see, it's my opinion. The game sucks, but that's what happens. You know, when you have good marketing, that's what happens. Like Army Men. That was a good game. It might have been some would call it a hidden gem, but it's all about the marketing. You have to reach a demographic. You have to reach. You have to reach.
I don't think 3DO did that.
Well, the last point I want to bring up before the video ends very soon is today we have the internet. That is, marketing is a whole different game now. It's a lot easier too. Yeah. In fact, a lot of
everything's on the internet.
Yep. In fact, a lot of companies get free advertisement now because of it. But you know, that's the future. That's doing
advertising for them.
Yeah, remember, we're in the future, people, and we'll see what new games come out soon.
That is very true. Very, very true.
But yeah, we're out of time, so, as always. Tyler, say goodbye.
See you later, guys.
Louder.
Can't hear you.
Yeah.
I want Jimmy to be ears bleed, Tyler.
Goodbye!
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's better coming up.
Goodbye, everyone.
All right. Military men reporting out.
Now you guys say.
Now you guys got to sign off now.
I signed off already.
Okay, well, all right, James, did you? All right, bye.